I think we are blessed with our cricket in India. We've just had a marquee five-test series, India versus England, the tradition going all the way back, some tough cricket, and then we head off into the biggest league in the world in what virtually a couple of weeks. Dare I say, if I'm allowed to use the parallel at all, it's like being at an all-night Bhimsen Joshi concert and then suddenly walking straight into a hard rock cafe.
This game is still alive, but only just. Kohli goes down the ground. Kohli goes out of the ground. What a twist! Are we seeing a cricket match or what? There he goes! That's the biggest of them all.
Let's look at the joys of both because both deliver in ample measure. I was very excited at the start of this five-test series, especially with all the talk about Bazball. It was accentuated after that first test in Hyderabad. I've had the good pleasure of knowing Brendan McCullum, of chatting with him a couple of times about this new form of playing cricket. He hates it being called Bazball, so does Ben Stokes. But at heart, what it meant was that you take away fear. You play with freedom, you play in the manner that comes best to you, and think about how we live life as well. Whenever we are afraid, we're not at our best. And when we are confident, when we're not afraid of failing, we go out and do well. And that is what I think Stokes and McCullum were telling their players. Take away all fear, walk out, and if you play with the freedom and joy for which you started playing the game, we'll back you all the way. And they've backed them all the way and they've played some thrilling cricket. There's no doubt. But sometimes when you win, and that happens to all of us as well, when we win, we become confident, of course, and that's one of the joys of winning. But we go from confidence to overconfidence. It's a very thin line that all of us traverse from time to time. We need our systems to keep pulling us back. But slightly beyond, you go into arrogance. That is when you need someone to tell you, come back, come back. It leads to a sense of invincibility. And that is when danger is most manifest. When you start to feel I'm invincible, I can do what I want, you're about to tread into danger zone. And I thought a couple of times at least, England just drifted into that feeling of invincibility. You could see that in the shots they were playing, but also in their utterances. It doesn't matter what you score, we'll get that 60 overs. Maybe that was just something that you have to say in a press conference, but what Ben Duckett said, the kind of shots some of them played, I just thought they drifted into invincibility. And you can understand why, because it produced such fantastic results against India in that decider, that great series in Pakistan, where they made 500 runs once in a day. So what it ended up doing, in my view, was in every innings, they gave India one or two wickets. Wickets that India didn't necessarily have to earn every time, but which were gifted through this, what Ashwin calls the lack of a defense. But don't let that take away from what India did. I thought India were very strong. They were very powerful. And at moments when the game was drifting, they were able to drag it back, whether it was through the extraordinary flair of Yashasvi Jaiswal. I just enjoyed watching him play. I mean, he hit Anderson for three sixes. Bashir comes back, he's a threat, hits him for three sixes. And what Jaiswal was saying all along was, this is my game. I'm going to drag the game towards me as quickly as possible. But the difference between what Jaiswal was doing and say what Aduket was doing was Jaiswal backed his defense. And Jaiswal had a pretty solid defense. So when Anderson's bowling a good spell, he would respect it. Occasionally, he would go and attack him. So I loved what Jaiswal did. I loved Rohit's approach. The team just seems to be very happy, and you can gauge that in your little conversations and what you're seeing on the field. I thought Rohit had a magnificent series as captain. He had a couple of hundreds as well. And I loved the way he used Kuldeep Yadav. And Kuldeep, I suspect sometimes is a combination. Occasionally, I think he went through being a fragile soul. He's become a lot stronger now, but he needed an arm around the shoulder. He got that. And once he got the consistency with his new pace, wow, he bowled beautifully. I'm very, very happy for Kuldeep Yadav. And you can see the better he bowled, the more his batting started to flower as well. He's bowling fantastic. And I was happiest for Ravichandran Ashwin. 100 test matches, finger spinner, taking 500 wickets. constantly reinventing himself. He says, as the batters change the game, the bowlers have to change the game. And you can see he's bowling that, he's bowling this, he's bowling this. His fingers are magical, and the mind is always ticking. So to be around to see 100 tests, 500 wickets was just fantastic. So there you are, a marquee series. It could have been 3-2, it could have been 4-1, it could have been 5-0. There were moments in there. England will look back and say, Rajkot, Ranchi, should we have done something more? But that's what 5 test matches do. Over 5 days a game tests you. And when you play 5 test matches, it's like a long distance runner. How much do you have in your lungs? How much do you have in your mind? What resilience do you have? Oh, it was a great series. I can't wait for India, Australia later this year. And then we move to the IPL. The IPL, everyone thinks it's glitz, glamour, television rights, money, franchises, splurging. It is all that. But the reason the IPL is the most looked forward league in the world, apart from what it pays people, is that it's also the toughest cricket league in the world. It's the best cricket that you will see anywhere in the world outside nation to nation contests. It's a grueling tournament. Just as 5 test matches tests you, just as 5 days of a game tests you, so does a 14-game calendar test you. You have to use your reserve strength. You will go through phase. You lose 3 games. How do you come fighting back? Different conditions. Can you maximize your home conditions? It has got a wonderful flow to it. And that's what I like so much about the IPL. It gives India its great strength in world cricket too. And that is the Indian consumer, the Indian spectator, who, as I've never tired of saying, is just the most important person in world cricket. So I'm really looking forward to the IPL. It's turned 17 now. It's wow. I've been really lucky to have had a really close view of the IPL as it has evolved, and I only hope it goes from strength to strength. I mean, in a couple of years, it's going to be 94 games. Already, I talked about 14 games. It's going to be 18 games. It's going to be a completely different kettle of fish. Like most things about the IPL, there's just a couple of things. At the start of a season, it's a good time to mention it. And I've never liked the orange cap very much because I think it rewards a metric that is not the most valuable metric. Scoring a lot of runs is important. Yes, I mean, you have a season like that magical season that Virat Kohli had in 2016 or like Shubman Gill had in 2023 or the kind of seasons that Josh Butler, David Warner, those kind of players have had. Yes, the more runs you score, the more matches you win for your side. But T20 is also about tactically what scoring as many runs as you can, as quickly as you can, as effectively as you can. And so the best metric is not necessarily the number of runs you've scored, but when and at what rate you scored them. And sometimes the orange cap can cause people to, how do I put it, want to score more. And it sometimes it can lead to not being the best result for your team. So we need to find a better metric than just the maximum number of runs and that orange cap. And I worry a little. I'm just getting older. Maybe it's my generation, but I worry a little about the effects of fame and money on young players. They're getting a lot of money in the IPL and good on them. IPL has changed lives like nothing else in Indian sport has. Dare I say, few things in world sport has. It's lifted families literally and made always do so. But I would hate for Indian cricket to lose players to fame and money. And I sometimes wonder if, like the BCCI used to do the benevolent fund before, just hold back a little bit and put it in 100% safe. Maybe Government of India tax-free bonds or something like that. So that when they finish with the game, they've got a lovely corpus. That's where the interest on that is all tax-free. And they're not getting carried away by the amount of money that they have because they don't have such a lot. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a socialist thought of someone who grew up in that environment. But I worry about, we need to do something about not losing players to fame and money because with social media now being what it is, and yeah, maybe as I said, I'm just getting older. So there you are. I've really enjoyed that test series. I'm looking forward to the IPL. And I'm looking forward to your views as well on the blog. For example, you could start with your views on a lot of fame and a lot of money too early in life. Let me know. And as I've said before, once a month, I'll try and answer your questions too. Cheers.